Welcome back to another Canon Quick Shot, a quick review of a non-comic book or superhero movie. I'm your host, Terry, and today I am doing 8th Grade, written and directed, debut by Bo Burnham, the stand-up comedian and musician. So again, this comes from Bo Burnham, who is known for his stand-up, and his musical comedy, I should say. He is a first-time writer-director. And this tells the story of a young girl who is near the end of 8th grade, getting ready to go to high school, and just kind of the stuff she's going through. So, while we've been into this Oscar season, or getting closer, I've been hearing a lot about, a slice of life, movie, and I've never heard that term used before, to be honest with you. I'm sure people have used it many times, but I know Rob Linkletter, the director, that people talk about his movies like Boyhood and stuff like that. And so I guess that's a good way to describe these movies, where you just kind of go into the life of a character or a group of characters and just kind of go through their life. You know, it's not a big plot. I mean, some people would call it dramas, but it's not a thriller or anything. It's just kind of going through their life. And we see that a lot with indie movies. We see that more so recently, I would say. I mean, this is so similar to the situation that Lady Bird was in, where you got this first time writer-director who is from the entertainment industry. Bo's a stand-up comedian. Greta Gerwig, she was an actress. So they aren't directors, but they're in the industry. And so they take their turn behind the camera, and they do these kind of slower, real grounded look into people's lives. So we saw it with Lady Bird. We saw that a little bit with Call Me By Your Name. You see that with 8th Grade. There's a movie coming out by Jonah Hill. I know that'll be that way. But anyway, these are the slow indie type movies we get. And so 8th Grade, we, looking at Kayla, who, I mean, it's hard to describe. You just go through her life. She's in her last week of 8th grade. She does her YouTube videos and all these things, and she has just her dad, no siblings, so only child, single parent household, and she doesn't really have friends, but she does these YouTube videos giving people life tips, which I thought was a great setup, because with this, you had this kind of juxtaposition, these two oxymorons, where it was just like, oh, here I am on YouTube and social media, well, I'm acting one way, but in real life, I'm not even together. But not even that. She actually believes she's helping people. She isn't doing it to fake. She's like, I know things and I'm learning things and I need to tell people. And it's cool because it's very young person-ish. I don't know about 8th grade, maybe 7 or 6, but in this day and age, possibly, with so much social media and stuff and availability to put yourself out there, you would think like, oh, this is happening to me alone, and I am wise because I went through this, so I can share it with other people. And it's funny because no matter how connected we get with technology, how much you can see the world more, people stay the same. When you're that age, you go through those awkward phases and you go through those aha moments and you feel like, I figured it out. I'm the one that's doing this. And it's funny because even in the movie, they kind of show a lot of the things she gives life lessons on and tips is things that she learns from her dad without realizing it. Like, her dad gives her those things, but she kind of does it. She thinks it's coming from her and that she's the smart one. And I don't know. To me, it was just kind of a nice little, I wouldn't say it's a metaphor because, it happens in real life, but I guess it's a metaphor for that age and time when you're that young and you feel like, oh man, I'm discovering things and I know these things and I'm the only one that can, tell people. And in the social media age, you're encouraged with that, and you get encouraged to feel like you got to put yourself in the spotlight. But anyway, so enough about that. I think that was a good commentary, though. It felt at times like Ingrid Goes West, which is a small indie that a lot of people didn't see. And I didn't like that movie because it talked about the social media of today, but they used a character that had a mental illness. So it was already kind of like missing the point. But with this one, you're a perfectly normal child, no issues, but you live in this age where your little kids are always on the internet. They know about stuff way too fast. They're growing up too fast. They see too much. And like whenever, like just her normal day, her chilling day is just sitting in the dark, being on a computer until she's tired, and then she gets on her phone until she falls asleep. So it captured perfectly this age where we are all aware of social media as young adults and adults, but we sometimes forget these kids are living in it too. And there's even a great conversation in the movie about Snapchat and generations. And it's hilarious on multiple levels. It's kind of meta because the movie's rated R, and I'm sure people can take their teenagers to see it or 8th graders or whatever, but I would say it's made for adults, and Bo Burnham knew adults watching this conversation would be meta for us, where it's like they're over here, like these kids in high school are talking about these kids in junior high and how they got, when they had Snapchat and how they're different from them, and we're sitting there like, you all are just kids. And it's so funny. It's just layers of, oh, I'm so confident that I know the world, but you're so young and have no idea what you're doing. And we're all just kind of laughing at it in the theater. And there's some good jokes. It was a lot more funnier than I expected it to be. I laughed a lot. It was goofy stuff, but it was pretty funny. I thought the timing and everything was well done. So there was definitely that. The only thing I would say is the pacing wasn't the best. There's like you could tell Bo was trying to like really sit in on a long shot too many times when it didn't need to be. And, you know, where they kind of wanted to just take a one take, or they just wanted to sit on the scene. And it was like, okay, this really slows the movie down. And I don't know, I think the pacing was just kind of over the place. And I feel like the editing could have been done better with that. And then the story, I mean, again, with these slice of life movies, it's not really a story. You just kind of watching what's going on with her. And so in that way, with these movies, it always kind of feels like there's no point. Like we're not going anywhere with this. It's just kind of going until it's done. And so, but you enjoy the ride. You feel for the character. You really live with the character in this movie. Like it's not bouncing to all these other people. It's really just everything from her perspective. And so you come to care for her in that sense. And so when things happen, you care about it, but still overall, it's just like, where is this going kind of feeling, which is kind of inevitable with this movie. But, I would say that's kind of one thing that you'll feel it as you get towards the end of the movie. But overall, man, it was really good. I think, the reason it's rated really high and that it's going to continue to be rated high is because you really reminisce with this movie. Like most of this movie, you're going to enjoy what you're seeing, but most of this movie, you're sitting there thinking about you in 8th grade, or thinking about you in junior high, or thinking about how your parents would react, or how you would have reacted at that age, or what your friends was doing, like all these things. And in that sense, it allows you to reminisce and makes it relatable, even though the way her dad acts is not, you know, I don't even know if they said what city they were in, but that type of lifestyle, that type of culture, that's not something that relates to me at all. I didn't grow up anything like this girl did. But like I said, the moments, it allows you to reminisce, so it makes it relatable kind of to everybody. And that's just inherent with the story, but it is done pretty well. So I give it points for that. I don't know if I would give it as much points as the critics are doing, cause like it's super high rated. And I think it was funny. The comedy was well done. I thought, the performance by the main actress was well done. But technically I wouldn't say it was the best made movie or anything. So, and it's not super creative. It's just kind of day in the life of an 8th grader. So, for me, I give it a solid B, give it an 85. And I really enjoyed it. It's definitely something that I probably would watch again, possibly I'm not sure. But the love is getting right now is definitely going to be an Oscar conversation. I'm just glad it's not like Lady Bird last year where people were going crazy over and I watched them like, what is this? Like, I feel like this was way more relatable and you just like the character much more. Even though she doesn't do the best things, you just relate to her a lot more. And so, I don't know. That's me personally. But anyway, so like I said, give it a B. Go to the comment section. Let me know what you thought of 8th grade. If you saw it, if you didn't see it, what are you expecting? Thumbs up, subscribe, share it around. And if you heard it here, it's official canon.